Hello everyone. Welcome to Cabbage Patch Soap. My name is Laura and today we will be making Cinderella soap and also cutting the Beauty and the Beast soap. I'm a little bit Oh, you're waiting. Hi Ian, welcome. Yeah, they don't let us put memes in the chat sadly. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start by unmolding this individual bar before I forget. So I'm just going to push this up from the bottom. And hopefully it'll pop right out. There we go. Okay, so here's how the bottom looks. It is a little bit soft still, and it will set up over time. And then there's the top. So that's similar to how the soap bars will look. Just going to set this aside somewhere. And I'm going to put the individual bar on the shelf to cure. Get that going. Okay, so if the bar soap is this soft, I might actually have to wait to cut it. But hopefully not. Hi Stacy, welcome. I also thought it would be fun to show you guys how I stamp the soaps. So we might be doing that also for the Dracula soap. And oh, I'm sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. Let me move this. I feel like every time I set this up, I have the camera in a different place. Okay. Wow, that's really crooked. What is going on here? Well, I'll just make everything else crooked to match. How about that? There. Hi, Lorna. Welcome. All right, I'm going to try. So, if you guys missed it a second ago, I pulled out the individual bar, and it was still really, really soft, which is okay. But if this loaf here is too soft, we might have to wait a couple days to cut it because I don't want it to smush. I have the Dracula soaps over here. Let me move them a little closer so I can use the paper from them. This little bit precaution here. Okay. All right, so what I'm doing is just pushing on the bottom of the mold and hoping to get this out without damaging it. Okay, I feel it releasing, so that's a good sign. And those little individual molds, because they're so small, sometimes they just don't set up the same as the bars. So that's what I'm hoping happened because I'd really like to cut this today. Okay, so that came out really pretty. It is very soft, but I don't think it's too soft to cut. It's just soft. So, and that could be caused by the fragrance oil. That can be caused by, how warm it was or cold it was when I soaked. Could be a lot of things. But yeah, look how pretty. It's like blue and pink and purple marble or something. And then here's the top, and here's the side. So you've got Beauty's side of the bar here and the Beast. All right, so I'm going to set this down, and let me just check what you guys are saying real quick. You're watching a lawyer on the computer talking about jury. Oh yeah, yeah, the jury reactions from the Depp Heard trial. Yeah, there was some funny stuff in there. I've seen. Which lawyer are you watching? The one I've seen was Attorney Tom. He was commenting, and there's a couple other people I saw who were commenting. Okay, I'm going to turn this around so I don't chop the flowers. Okay, I'll pull this forward. DUI guy. Ah. Oh, you know what? I saw that video and I haven't watched it. So I haven't been really keeping up with that trial, but the couple of videos that I saw that were related to it are kind of hilarious. I mean, I don't know if I would want to have my whole life on display like that, but um, the comments that the YouTubers were making were pretty funny. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cut this. I'm just making sure that I've got this all lined up properly. Okay, good. All the roses survived. Oh, he's live right now. Okay. All right, so here's the bar from the middle, and here's how it looks. I think it came out really pretty considering. I'm really glad that the colors here stayed separate. They didn't like blend together. And same thing with the beast. You could see very clearly where the red and where the brown is. It didn't become all muddy, which is really good. You never know whenever you're pouring. Usually they don't, but always have that worry because you never know. Here's the second bar. There's that one. And I love this pink, how it's really like pale, but it's definitely like pink. It reads as pink. Very, very nice. Sometimes some of the pale pinks that I've used are so pale that they almost don't show up unless you use a ton of the mica, which is fine. But I think for this soap, that pink was a good decision. It really lets the blue and the purple show off nicely. Plus, I like the tones of the colors. Anyways, oops. There we go. And then there's the top, so you can see the flowers. Okay, I'm going to set these aside as well. And then here's the end pieces. Here's that one. Here's that one. Oops. So you can either have a blue mountain or you can have a volcano. I like the volcano. Looks like the sky. The blue, purple, and pink look like the sky. This is perfect. Maybe I should just make all my soaps like this, make volcanoes. Anyway, I'm going to set all this on the shelf real quick. And then I'll show you, I think we have enough time. I'm going to show you the stamping of the Dracula soap because I think that will be fun to do. Okay, this soap is really soft. Give me just a moment. I'm going to kind of push everything out of the way so I don't have to risk damaging the soap. Okay, give me just a moment. No, you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just trying to place these on the little drying racks, but without damaging the bottoms. So it's a little bit of a challenge. Okay, I think I got it. All right, so that's that. All right, I'm just gonna clean up this cutter now. Hope everybody had a good weekend. I got a bunch of work done, so that was good. Some stuff that I had been putting off and other stuff that just needed to be done. Okay, so I'm gonna knock everything over. That's good, that's good. 1 second here, I'll put this back. Okay, I am going to put the cutter away. And I'll be right back. So the Dracula soap is going to have a little stamp on one side that looks like a bat. I thought that'd be really cute. But first, I have to finish the bars. So we have to plane them and bevel them. So I'll show you what that looks like. I usually work on a piece of parchment paper. This is the planer. I was just planing some soaps last night. So, all right. So what I do is I plane both of the main sides, the front and back, basically, of the soap, and then I bevel them. So this is just rubbing alcohol. This helps the soap glide across without catching and dragging because you don't want it to drag. So All that does is gives the soap a little bit smoother of an appearance there. Let me see. It just helps it look a little bit more finished. It's just an extra soap that really makes an extra step. I mean, that makes the soap look really nice. Okay, and then we end up with these awesome little soap papers that typically I put these in my little. I have like a bucket that I have all the little, like a little container, has all the little shavings of the soaps on it, in it, rather, all these little papers. And then I use those to make new soaps. So I can then make confetti soap or I can make whatever. And that little planer has a beveler on it, but um, I have found that I prefer doing it this way. And this soap still smells so good. It's got that wonderful almond scent with the cherries. This is a really, really good fragrance. I know I keep saying that, but I was really surprised by how nice this smells. Every time I smell it, I'm like, oh, that's right, I used that fragrance, and it smells so good. So, like I said, I might be using it in other other products. I'm thinking of making more of the solid perfume because I really do enjoy that, especially for the summer. It's really good for the summer because it won't melt, or it shouldn't melt. Just don't leave it in your car. But yeah, all right. All right, so that's that. And then on the back of the soap, I will put the Cabbage Patch soap stamp. Let me see here. Okay. All right, so this has been done. That's cleaned. Okay. But that's not why we're here. We are here to see the bat. So I'm going to choose a side. So that looks more like the front to me. And both sides, the fun thing about the soap is that both sides look really fun. So I'm going to use these sides as the front. And this is what you're saying here. Storming hard here. Oh yeah, I hope not. Hope you don't lose power. I really do like the storms though. We were supposed to get one yesterday, but then we didn't, and I was sad. But that's okay, because the weather's been really nice, because it hasn't been too warm. I was actually able to go outside and I didn't faint, so that's always a plus. Okay, so what I do here is I just take a little bit of plastic wrap. And if I have a lot of soaps to do, I can usually just use the same piece of plastic wrap for all the soaps. But we've only got 3 that need to be done. The soap is still really soft. Usually I'd wait a little bit longer to do this, but I didn't want to. I wanted to do this live and I didn't want to forget. So anyway, so I'm going to just choose a spot for the little bat to go and just gently push down. And that should leave a little indentation of a bat, which I think looks super cute. I think we'll do one. Let's do it on the same in the same spot on all the soaps. Sometimes I put them in different places, and then when I do the photography, I'm like, oh well, now it just looks messy. All right, there we go. So you got this cute little bat, and then if we just carefully peel back the plastic wrap, this one I think could go a little bit deeper. I don't think I pushed down enough on that one. It's really hard to know sometimes because these stamps are actually not meant for this, so sort of repurposing something else. Okay, there we go. There we go, that's better. Okay, yeah, that looks much better. All right, but so you can kind of see here, see if it'll show up on the, I don't know if it's going to show up on the camera, but there's definitely a little bat stamped. There it is right there on the corner. And here's another last one right here, you can see. Anyways, so those are super cute and they smell so good. I'm going to put them back on the shelf now to finish curing and set the rest of this aside. I'll put this in my bucket container thing for later. And yeah, so this the soap that we're supposed to be making today is Cinderella, and of course, there's been many, many, many films and variations of the stories and arguments over where it actually originated from. And depending on who you ask, um, some people believe that the story actually originated in Egypt. Some people say France. Some people say lots of things. I don't know the answer because I wasn't there. So all those sound good to me. I'm fine with any of those. Um, the first, well, I don't want to say full length film because what was considered full length 100 years ago is not what we would consider a full length film today. But anyway, the earliest, well, there were two very early versions of Cinderella that I could find. Um, Both of them were in the early 1900s. The one I was able to find and actually watch was from 1911. There was another one apparently in 1899. It was a silent. Of course, there were silent films. But it was a short. It was really, really short, and um, yeah, I didn't look up that one. The one I looked up was from 1911, and of course, it was in black and white. They have colorized it since then, but I don't know if how accurate those colors are. I wasn't really able to get a whole lot of information from it, um, as far as like what colors or what scents to use or anything like that. So for that, what I used was the Grimm's fairy tales, and there was a lot of information in the Grimm's version of the story. Um, but let me just put this aside. So, in that version of the story, the way that Cinderella gets her dress is not from, you know, a fairy or something like that. Where she gets it is she goes to her mother's grave and asks for a dress, and the birds throw a dress down to her, and it's described as being having silver and gold and made of silk. So I don't know if it ever mentions the color of the silk, unless they just mean silken color, which would be like a very pale, like creamy beigey type color. Or if it was like a dyed silk, I don't know. But every time, oh, and also in that version, the ball lasted several days. It wasn't just a 1 day event. And so each time she went back, she got a more and more and more elaborate dress from the birds at her mother's grave. Um, it comes from Transylvania. Oh, sure. Okay. Why not? Transylvania. So this is going to be what, the Transylvania and Cinderella? That sounds good to me. Anyway, so I decided that to represent, I decided the colors, I wanted the colors to represent her dress, because if I went with any other part of the outfit, like when she was, before she had the dress on or whatever, I mean, she was just wearing rags, and she's always depicted as having like a dirty face and this and that. So I could have gone with like grays and browns, but I thought for Cinderella, you know, it would be more fitting to do her dress that she went to the ball in or something like that. So I've got this gold colored mica. Now in the soap, this is going to look more creamy and less like metallic, but it'll still be really pretty. It's called Maya Gold by Nurture Soap. I also have some in a little spray bottle so we can do the top all pretty. For the silver, I have this pewter silver, which we used for the gray in the Dracula soap. So again, this will not be very metallic in the soap, but it'll still be really pretty. And then to represent either the silk or the prince or any version of the royalty in the book or the stories, I mean, I'm using purple because that's stereotypically the color of royalty. But this is called Purple Vibrance by Nurture Soap, and it's one of my favorite purples. Always comes out really nice and bold. So, anyways, we're going to be using those three colors. And then for the fragrance, I wanted to represent that earthiness from her, like always being, dirty and dingy and working, and but also the sweetness, which she was supposed to represent, being like a very sweet person or whatever. And I went through my fragrances and I found this is called Walnut Tree. And it has, I meant to look this up beforehand, but didn't. But the fragrance, ironically, smells really clean, but there is that earthiness to it, and it does have sweet notes, but mostly it's like a clean, um, like a clean and like clean and very clean and very earthy. I guess that's the best way to put it. Again, I don't know if this is going to accelerate or what this is going to do in the soap, so we'll add it after we've added the colors to ensure maximum not accelerating this. It also could do a lot of other things like ricing and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and put my face shield on. Let me clean it first. I've got thumbprints that I won't be able to see through because they're soapy thumbprints. Okay, one moment. All right, and why not? I'm just going to look up. One second. Let me look, see if I can find that fragrance. Because I want to give a better, like, oh, this smells good. Like, I want to give a better description. Just waiting for the page to load. Okay, here we go. It is, all right, so they describe it as by being hibiscus, plum floral notes. That's how they describe it. But the plum, I've noticed in most fragrances that plum scent is where you get that green, earthy scent from for whatever reason. And then the hibiscus must be where that sweet, like clean scent is coming from. But it does smell really, really nice. And I'm hoping it'll perform well in the soap. Let me just see what the flash point. Oh, yeah, 200. Okay, we'll be totally fine to put this in the oven. All right, so yeah, let's just get started. Oh, and I wanted to do a swirl with this, just a basic swirl, because there's so many things we could put in this soap, and there's just too many. Oh, and at the end, part of the reason I just want to do a swirl is I will be putting a castle stamp on it when I'm done, and the castle stamp is pretty big. So I felt that like an intricate design or like something specific like layers or something would take away from that stamp, and I want the stamp to have like the colors as like the background behind it. So that's the other reason I did this. So yeah, so let me get my stick blender put back together. And we got a bunch of really good suggestions also for future soaps. Just a second here. Let me pull up the one that I got to pull up the comments again to see them here. Okay. Yeah, Denise suggested well, she was commenting on the Frankenstein's monster doing like a green for to represent his skin and doing flowers, which I think would be really good. In the book, I think his skin was supposed to be like yellowish, but in the movie, it was supposed to be green, or that's what they put on the cover art. And so maybe I could do like a pale green, so kind of represent both, like a yellowy green. And I think that would be a really good idea. And we may do that one next because I have to make the flowers ahead of time. So I'll probably, that one might be next. And then Alice in Wonderland, she had some comments about that, rabbits and top hats, which would be fun. I do have a rabbit cutout that I could use. So both of those would be really good. And let's see here. Oh yeah, Gone with the Wind and using a magnolia fragrance. I can see if I know at one time I did have magnolia and I don't know if I used it or not. I can go look and see, but it might accelerate, but what we could do is do it in batches and either do layers or do a design that's really forgiving. Or we can just jump in and risk it, right? Why not? So those are all really good ideas that I may be doing soon. So okay, let's get on with this real quick before I forget what I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and pour this lye water in. It already has the sea salt and everything in it. And we're just going to pulse this. And I tried to get this all melted beforehand so it had time to cool. And I do have the AC going, so hopefully this had enough time to cool. Okay, so that looks like it's good enough to separate. And then, as you know, I will, this is not fully blended, but it's going to get more blending in a couple of minutes. So um, in the fairy tale version, the Grimm's fairy tale, they made it sound like the gold and silver were more like the trim of the dress, depending on how you read it. It would say, oh, the dress was of silver and gold, but then it would say something about the trim. And so I'm thinking maybe doing more purple and less of the silver and gold. So I'm going to use this for the purple, and I'm just eyeballing these two to make them slightly less. That's going to make it a little harder to blend in the colors, but I think it'll be a better balance. I don't like having all three colors be completely even most of the time. Okay. So let's do the silver first. I'll just put in a little bit of this. Okay, we don't want too much. And then the gold. There we go. That should be enough. And then again, we'll be doing the gold on the top as well. Okay, and then the purple. This is making a big poofy mess, which is fine. Okay. And I think I'm going to get my other, my little tiny whisk to blend these in, and I'll start with the gold. Let me just grab that real quick. I took my big one out, but we can use that for the purple. Okay. Hopefully I can stay in frame for all this. Alright, so here's the gold. You see how it's it's definitely a gold, like a gold shade. It's a very pretty gold. The silver next. Since these two are so small, I'll use my small whisk. If I need more of this gray, I can add more. I don't know, I think that's plenty. I'm just hoping it all dissolves. Some of these, some of the colors dissolve better than others, depending on what is in them. This might be one that stays speckled, and that's fine. I also don't want to work in too much air, because then we'll end up with bubbles in the soap. Okay, and then the purple, we'll use this larger whisk. Okay, that looks fine, actually. Okay, that looks really good. Thought I'd need to do way more work for that. So the only thing is, of course, it is very fluid. I'm going to do this a little bit longer just because I don't want this to be undermixed. So I'll just do a little more. Okay. Let me see. Looks like I read about trace. Okay, so now if this fragrance is as floral as it says it is, I am fully expecting this to accelerate. And so I'm going to start with the smaller colors first and then go to the large one. If you guys hear a fan come on, I apologize. It's really warm in here, so that fan is keeping me conscious. So, all right. The fragrance, right. Okay, let's start with the gold again. Looks like I spilled a bunch. Typical. There we go. All right. I'm going to put a little bit in each one. Can you guys see that? Yeah, barely. I'm just going to do a little bit, whisk it in. Make sure you can smell it. I'll do a little bit more. You could smell it, but I want to make sure it's really in there. This fragrance is not overpowering. That is another thing. So where that almond cherry fragrance that we used in Dracula was very potent and we did not need very much, this is not the case with this one. This is more subtle. You can still smell it just fine, but it's not nearly as like overpowering as the almond cherry. Put the rest of it in here. Got it in my hands, just making them slippery. All right. Just checking the trace. I think it's fine. Let me see what you barely hear the fan. Okay, good. I'm glad it's not too much. Sometimes fans can be so loud, but this one, I'm glad if it's not bothering you guys, it's perfect. Okay, I'm gonna try mixing this gold a little more. It's still really watery. Well, not too bad, but okay, there. Now I'm seeing a trace. Okay, now it's starting to thicken. Okay, yep. It's behaving like a floral, so that's good because I want to get this poured. Okay, good trace on that one. And this, yep, I can feel the resistance. Okay, time to very quickly put these. We're going to do a in the pot swirl type swirl. I'm going to start with this gold. You guys can see that? Okay. Put a little here and a little here. A little bit at the front. Okay. So hopefully this will turn out with really nice swirls, kind of like in that Beauty and the Beast soap that we cut, where you'll have on the beauty side, you'll have distinct swirls, but they're definitely like swirled together. Okay, let's do this gray, or silver rather. Here's the silver, here's the silver, here's the silver in the front. And we'll just scrape out the remaining. Put some more in there. I'm not going to do an actual swirl in this pot because I don't want to risk the colors getting muddied at all, since we do have the purple and the gold, and I feel like those would get muddied pretty quick. I think I will try a little bit of a wall pour. Well, you know what? I'm not, because I don't want to risk these blending it all together. Let me tap out any air bubbles. Can you see those popping on the top, those little dots? Yep, lots of air bubbles. Let me put this down. Okay. Hopefully that got out too many, any of the excessive air bubbles, large ones especially. Okay, we're going to go here and then just kind of swirl around and around and around. Okay, there we go. Looks like the gray came out on top. And that's fine. So when we cut that, we should still have distinct layers because I didn't do any swirling in the actual pot itself. All right, let's put this in here. The remaining batter. Can you see? Yeah, okay. And then, like I said, we'll dust the tops of these with gold. It'll be really super pretty. And then these will get a castle stamp later on, once they've been cut and hardened appropriately. I'm wondering if the reason, or maybe a contributing factor to the soap being really soft, the one that we cut today, might be because of the humidity levels, which have been higher recently. So that could also be what's causing the problem. Okay, so let's put this here. I'll turn this around so you can see better. There we go. Okay. I'm going to take this and just kind of, there's like the swirl. It's probably not going to show up, but I want to tap the top and make a little bit of like a kind of a texture, maybe. And we'll do the same here. Okay. Oh, right there, right there, right there. Okay. And then we will dust everything with gold. So Hopefully that texture will look like ruffles in the fabric or something. Oh, I can take this mask off. 1 second. So much better. Okay. I don't feel like I'm talking in a tunnel. I'm going to turn this. So I'm not going to, well, I'm going to put a little bit more, but I'm going to continue from this direction because what I don't want is I don't want to lose that texture that we put in there. You can kind of see it here, but if I turned this around and sprayed from the other direction, it would hit the other side. But you see how my hand goes over, you see that shadow and it shows the texture. I want that to be visible on there. So hopefully those won't flatten out too much. And I will dust the top of this with gold also. And these little sprayers are really nice. Nurture Soap also, they sold these. I think they still do. You can look. Last time I checked, they still had them, but that was a while ago. And I have links for all this in the description. Okay. We made it. Well, thank you, Lorna. I'm glad you like the colors. Hopefully this sort of captures what I had in mind with Cinderella, especially once with the castle on there. I think that'll kind of tie it together. I was thinking of doing like maybe a shoe stamp or something, but I think I also wanted to use that for Wizard of Oz because I thought I could do ruby slippers. I can't find the shoe stamp. I think maybe that was one I didn't actually buy, or maybe it's still sitting in my cart. I'm going to find out. And if so, we might have to wait until I can order those stamps before we do the other suggestions. Because I don't think I have a top hat. But I can do the Frankenstein one. I think I have the flowers and I have the colors and everything. So hopefully Thursday we will be doing Frankenstein. So look forward to that. And then if I can find this shoe or if I can find the other things I need for the other ones, we may be doing those first. We will see. But if you have any other suggestions for old movies, they have to be at least 75 years old. Old stories, any kind of like old fairy tales that you'd like to see done, please leave comments down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. And if you enjoyed this, please consider liking the video and subscribing. It really helps me out. And thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. This was a lot of fun. And thank you, Jill. I'm glad you liked the gold top. There's the other one there so you can see it. So we will be cutting these on Thursday. So definitely be here for that. And then, like I said, if the Beauty and the Beast soap is, or not the Beauty and the Beast, the Cinderella soap, if once this has been cut and is firm enough, we can stamp that also, and I'll show you how that stamp looks. So have a great night, guys. I'll see you all Thursday. Enjoy the rest of your week.